What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Rob Code Show. So, over the previous weekend, the United States and Israel bombed Iran and killed the Ayatollah. And so, like most Americans, I woke up Saturday morning going about my normal life. And I actually work on the weekends. I work in a restaurant. And so I woke up, did my normal morning routine, shave, shower, drove over to the restaurant. And in the restaurant, we have a whole bunch of TVs like around the restaurant and stuff. And one of the TVs was on CNN. And that's how I got the news, probably at about 8:30 ish a.m. United States and Israel strike Iran. And I thought to myself, wow, it finally happened. And if you're a news junkie like me, you've seen this coming, especially in the last few weeks where we were moving a whole bunch of military stuff out into the area and propping like we were going to hit them, and we finally hit them. And I've been talking about this for weeks, and it finally happened. And a few people, shout out to my good friend Dustin and or my good friends Dustin and Maggie. Hi. They came at separate times, but they both come up to me. Rob, what's going on with why did Trump strike Iran? What's going on with Iran, and do you support this? And we'll get into what happened, but do I support this? Hell no. No, I do not support this in any way, shape, or form. Um, and I'll get into that more later, but it's just it's crazy times we're living in. This might be the biggest betrayal to Trump's base besides the Epstein files that has taken place yet. And maybe one of the biggest betrayals in American history. I mean, a lot of people come into office, they say they're going to do something and it doesn't happen. And, us as of Americans, we've been abused so many times that we don't even really hold people accountable for not getting done the things that they ran on. We just let it go. As long as you keep things kind of the same, we're really not too pissed off. It's when things get worse, and then that's when we're like, okay, we need someone else in office. But anyway, welcome to the Rob Coates Show. I'm going to show you a couple clips, and then I'm going to rant for a little bit about how we got where we are right now. So let's jump right into it. So, like I said, and my friend Maggie, she goes, I think Maggie and Dustin both said that they both asked me, do you support what Trump is doing in Iran? And I said no, because these two compilations that I'm going to show you are exactly. A lot of people vote for many different reasons. Maybe you're a left leaning or a woman that leans to the left and you're voting for women's rights, or you're a man that leans to the right or the cultural right, and you've seen all the stuff like tampons and boys bathrooms and stuff like that, and you're like, hold on, I need to slow this thing down. Whatever you vote for, that's on you, and I'm glad that you express your opinion by going to the polls. Me, I personally voted on no new wars. In the previous administration with Biden, we seen the Afghanistan debacle where we lost 13 service members leaving Afghanistan after 20 years or so of being there. We lost 13 service members while leaving, and it was just one of the video footage out of the place is horrific. It's one of the worst things that happened to this country in my lifetime. So you had that happen, and then for months and months and months, Russian soldiers were lined up against Ukraine's borders before they invaded. They were lined up outside for months. Biden sleeping, not doing anything, and I'm like, yo, they're gonna invade. Yo, they're gonna invade. The people on the news are like, yo, they're probably gonna invade, and then they invaded. So that was war number two that happened under Biden's watch. And then we can't forget October 7th and all of these things. We just kept funding, except the Afghanistan war, but we just kept funding. We just so I'm like, no, we need someone in office that's going to stop funding wars, because I don't like bloodshed. I don't like bombs being dropped on people with a Made in America stamp on it. I don't like that. I don't want my children to grow up in a world where their country is the bully of the world. I don't want to be the bully of the world. So let's listen to Trump leading into on the campaign trail, what he has to say about new wars.
I am the candidate of peace. I am peace. People don't believe that. I am peace.
A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars, not start them.
We do not want war with Iran. We actually want peace. The Iranians are clearly not very good at war. Perhaps they should follow President Trump's lead and give peace a chance.
Kamala is campaigning with warmongers like Liz Cheney. How do you think that is? She picks Liz Cheney, whose father virtually destroyed the Middle East. You know, Liz Cheney, she talks big, oh, I want war. She always wants war. Every time I was with her in the White House, we should attack this nation, that nation, nations that people never even heard of, we should attack. She's a big tough guy. She sits back in Washington, oh, we ought to go and attack Iran, Iraq. We're going to attack everybody. That's why I broke up with her. All she wanted to do is go to war with everybody. These war hawks, they want to draft your kids to die in wars, and they will never fight themselves. You know, we'll stay around the country for 15 years, just bomb the hell out of everybody, make everybody miserable. Nobody knows why we're there, you know, the wars that never end. These endless wars that we've been in, I've gotten us out of so many. We don't want to get into wars. We're tired of fighting. I'm the only president in the last 84 years that didn't start a war. Under Trump, we will have no more wars. No more wars. No more wars. We will have prosperity and peace. We will have prosperity and we will have peace. Remember, I'm the president of peace. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. He's going to start a war. I said, no. My rhetoric is going to keep us out of wars. And that's what happened. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. I believe that he will attack Iran sometime prior to the election because he thinks that's the only way he can get elected. Isn't it pathetic?
All right, shout out to Dropside for that wonderful compilation. I'm going to hit that follow button live here. Yeah. No new wars. All these politicians, they want to send your children overseas so they can die. I'm the president of peace. All the you heard it there. Do I have to repeat it? I don't even have to repeat it. I seen this in the comments. So that was from Dropsite. Make sure you give those guys a follow. And then in the comments, the top comment from Decensored News, Trump also said over and over again that he'd end the war in Ukraine in no longer than 1 day, 24 hours. As president-elect before even getting sworn in as president. Today is his 408th day in office. Here's a short compilation.
Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It will be settled quickly. I will get the problem solved, and I will get it solved in rapid order. And it will take me no longer than 1 day. I know exactly what to say to each of them. I got along very well with them. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in 1 day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in 1 day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. I will end that war in 1 day. It'll take 24 hours. I know Zelensky well. I know Putin well. I would get that ended in a period of 24.
You can break that deal.
100%. It would be easy. That deal would be easy. I would get that deal done within 24 hours. And I'll stop that war. Mark my words. I'll stop that war in 24 hours. I'll end that war between those two countries in 24 hours. It won't even take that long. There'll be no more bombing of Ukraine. There'll be no more bombing of Russia. And everybody will be happy. And I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Okay, shout out to Decensored News. I know those clips can get repetitive and they can be long, but I let them play all the way out because that wasn't even the full extent of what people heard over these last few years coming from this man. You know, that was just a little small 2-minute snippet that you heard of this man speaking about ending wars and not starting wars and stuff like that. Imagine listening to that for 3 years, let's say, and getting all hyped up like, yeah, no more new wars, no more new wars. And then he turns around and does this shit that he does today. What the fuck happened? Excuse me. I'm not even going to excuse myself. This is my show, goddammit. And if you don't like it, then find another show. But what the fuck actually happened? And if you see me smiling while these clips are going on, believe me, I don't think it's funny. I do think it's kind of funny because I was played. You were played. And the people that are going, hoorah, I voted for this. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because he never once promised, I'm going to bomb Iran or I'm going to kill the supreme leader of Iran. No, he said quite the opposite. So the people that's going up there saying, I voted for this and all this, no, you didn't. You're a liar and you're in a cult. Now, if you say I support this, that's a different thing. But I voted for this. This was never on the table. This was never in the cards. This was never on the menu. It's so infuriating to me because, like I said, this was one out of the top 3 reasons why I voted for this man. Was that shit that he was just saying in those 2 compilation videos. I was convinced. I was sold. I thought he was going to sit there, like he said, I know Putin very well. I know Zelensky very well. I'm going to sit them down. I'm going to have a conversation. This is what I thought would take place. Nope, just like our good friend Decensored News here said, well, he's on his 408th day in office. Decensored News said that yesterday. So he's in his 409th day in office. And still, the Ukraine war is still going on. We're still funding Israel. We just bombed the shit out of Iran. Never mind the genocide in Gaza. I didn't forget about that either. Let's talk about these nuclear bombs or nuclear whatever the fuck that Israel's supposed to have. Or not Israel. Iran is supposed to have. They were this close to a nuclear weapon. This close. Let's listen to Bibi Netanyahu speak on Iran's nuclear bombs. Here's another compilation video for you.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly. If they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
Okay, so that was Bibi Netanyahu. In my house, we call him Satan. That was him in 2025, saying that they're this close to, they were weeks away or 6 months in 2025 from having a nuclear bomb. And then in 2018, again, they were this close to having a nuclear bomb. I'm just doing this for the people that might be listening and couldn't see the dates up in the screen, or maybe it wasn't large enough or whatever. So that was, so far we have 2025, we have 2018, we have 2015, we have 2012, we have 2006, we have 1996, and then again in 1995. Since 1995 to 2025, so that was a 30-year span, I believe. No, yeah, hang on, shit, that's embarrassing. Yeah, 30-year span of him saying this. Some of you weren't even alive yet. Some of you weren't even born. Some people that are voting today weren't even born yet. To hit your whole life, he's been saying this shit. So why am I to believe that right now they were this close? This was supposedly one of the main reasons why we hit them, because they were this close to a nuclear weapon. Now, enough with the clips. I'm just going to rant for a little bit. So now that we know Iran is this close to making nuclear weapons, so I think it was like 8 months ago, they were once again this close. I think that was the 2025 clip. They were this close to making a nuclear weapon. So we performed, so we went over there and we had the 12-day war, where we hit them, bombed all of their nuclear facilities, and according to Trump and many other sources, we completely obliterated their chances of making a nuclear weapon. It was a success. Our military is the best military in the world, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. I truly believe that, but I am saying sarcastically that we obliterated their nuclear. I don't know what the hell we did, because if we obliterated it, then how the hell did they get this close again in 8 months again? So, but anyway, so we had the 12-day war. And then meanwhile, we also got this thing going on with Venezuela, where we're fucking just hitting random fucking boats that we find in the ocean. Just some of these people not even carrying drugs. Senator Rand Paul said that when these cargo ships are coming into the United States, they about 25%, so 1 in 4 times, they actually bust one of these cargo ships with drugs. So that means 1 in 4 of these cargo ships have drugs. So back to the Venezuela boats, if we use that same ratio, we could have just been killing innocent people 3 out of the 4 times, and we struck them way more than 4 times, these random boats. We hit way more than 4 boats. So how many innocent people did we kill with that operation? But it was supposed to be for the drugs. It was, Maduro, he's a war criminal because he's killing Americans with the fentanyl that's coming from Venezuela. But if we go back to Trump on the campaign trail, the fentanyl was coming from China and Mexico, and those two were working together. So why are we bombing Venezuela when we have little to no records of them selling fentanyl to the United States? Why are we bombing them? And then once again, you see these right-wing pundits online. You know, these people like me who voted for Trump, they're up there talking about I voted for this. No. Once again, this was not in the cards. Never on the campaign trail did I hear him say we're going to be knocking boats out of Venezuela, out of the ocean coming from Venezuela. You didn't vote for this. This is random shit. You can say I support this, but don't say I voted for this, Because if we really wanted to get to the root of the problem, we'd be talking to China. But China has nukes too. That's the thing. America likes to pick on these little countries that can't protect themselves against a bully like us. But anyway, just to continue, just to stay on topic here. So we're bombing the shit out of these boats, and we're talking shit to Venezuela. This is after the Iran thing, after we obliterated their nuclear facilities and stuff like that. And this all comes together. So that's why I'm telling you about this. So the American people weren't convinced with the drug thing. So they had to step it up an ante. Now we're doing, oh, this guy has machine guns. Maduro, their leader. Okay, we have machine guns here in America. Our military has all sorts of weapons that's way stronger than machine guns. And hell, there's guys that fucking live in Texas that got machine guns. Regular citizens. But I guess he acquired them illegally. So we went into that country and we kidnapped this man, killed a couple people on the way. And once again, our military did a fantastic job. You know, I'm not going to knock our military. I don't think it was a noble job, but I do think execution-wise, we are pretty badass. That doesn't mean... Like if I'm a good fighter, that doesn't mean I just walk up to everybody on the street and sucker punch them in the mouth, though. You know, those are two separate things. So I'm saying we are that good fighter. However, we're being unethical by just walking up to every wimpy kid we find on the street and just punching them in the mouth. But before we kidnapped him, we got to keep this in mind. Maduro, before we kidnapped Maduro, he was telling us, I'll give you everything. I'm not selling drugs. I'm not this guy that you think I am. And I'll give you all of the oil that you need. Because in the back channels, this was all really about the oil. It wasn't about the drugs. It wasn't about the weapons and all that other shit. There was negotiations going on the table and things that Trump feels as though that America has the right to in Venezuela regarding some of their resources. So Trump and Maduro are talking, and Trump's actually on the record saying this, which is pretty damning for him. He's on the record saying, yeah, he's willing to give us everything. And, you know, I just look at this like a freaking mob boss in the middle of the night. He said, like, you got a gun to his, or the mob boss got a gun to his head, and the guy's like, I'll give you everything. And he still shoots him. Even though the guy said, I'll give you everything, that wasn't good enough, you still had to take him out. No, he didn't shoot Maduro, but he kidnapped him and his wife, brought him back here to the States. You don't do that shit. Imagine if somebody kidnapped Trump. The country would be up in arms. As pissed off as I am, I would be up in arms. You're not going to kidnap my president. If they kidnapped Biden when he was in office, I hated that guy too. You're not going to do that. You're not going to come over here and you're not going to kidnap our leader. Like that's just not how that works. But Trump just thinks that he can do whatever the fuck he wants to whatever country he wants. So I bring up that Venezuela shit because now us and Trump and the military and Pete Hegseth and Rubio and all these fucking bloodthirsty bastards, they're loving it. They're on this sugar high. They're like a bunch of tweakers in the middle of the night, just I'm looking for my next hit. And fucking so back to Iran. So now where things are escalating with Israel and Iran, or they calmed down for a little bit, and me and all the other anti-war people, we were called a bunch of panicans. See, Trump knows what he's doing. He knows how to peace with strength. You got to be strong. You got to show them your strength, and then they'll bow down to the peace. You know, so a part that I missed in the beginning with the Iran thing, before we hit them in with the 12-day war, we suckered them in. We were like, hey, we want to talk to you guys. We want to negotiate. We want to negotiate. And then they're like, okay, yeah, we'll negotiate. We'll meet you at the tables. And then, boom, we hit the hell out of them. So we sucker them in. It's like a guy, if he walked up to you and was like, hey, you want to shake my hand? And then you reach out to shake his hand and he sucker punches you with the left hook. And it's like, God damn, bro, I thought you were offering me a friendly gesture. I thought we were going to talk, but you just sucker punched me in the mouth. And that's what we did to Iran the first time with the 12-day war. We offered them, we're going to try diplomacy. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to talk. And then instead of talking, we bomb the shit out of them. Okay. Same thing with Maduro. Where Trump, like I said, Trump's on the record. He's offering me everything. He's bragging about it. Yeah, he's offering me everything. I stripped him down to his socks. And that, so we're negotiating, and then bam, midnight hammer in the middle of the night. We come in with fucking the nighttime goggles and kill a whole bunch of people and kidnap this man and bring him back to the States. So that's 2 times now that we've said we're going to negotiate with someone and stab them in the back in the meantime. So let's fast forward to right now. So all of this shit that I was just speaking about, this was like the last 8 months. I know that's a lot, but hell, that was like the last 8 months of what the United States have been doing on the global plateau. That's what we've been doing on the global scale for the last 8 months. So far we've had the 12-day war with Iran. We've kidnapped Maduro. And so now things are heating up in Iran again. There's a whole bunch of protests going on. Oh man, these people are protesting. Looks like they're going to overthrow their government. And at the same time, I will mention we're also having protests here in America for ICE. And a lady named Renee Good and that dude Alex Peretti, they got killed in the protest. Now, whatever side you lean on, whatever. Americans were killed during protest here in America. That's a fact. That doesn't matter what side you lean on. That's a fact. There were protests going on and Americans were killed here in America by people wearing badges, law enforcement. So over in Iran, they're having protests too. They're upset with their government, it looks like. And mind you, the CIA and the Mossad is Israel's secret intelligence thing, if you don't know that. But they're really on the ground and they're kind of stirring things up over there, just pissing people off and agitating things, kind of like we got going on here in America anyway. But anyway, there's protests going on in Iran, and Trump looks over there and people are getting killed during these protests. And Trump got the nerve to say out of his motherfucking mouth, he got the nerve to say, if they don't calm down the protest and stop killing protesters, we might have to strike them. What? We might have to intervene. What? Wait a minute. You don't like the way the protesters are being treated over there, sir? Because protesters are getting killed over here too. What do you have to say about that? So right now at this time, and this is probably like 2 months ago, we got, first they're saying we're going to have to, they rebuilt the nuclear thing too. Any day now, again, I know 6 to 8 months ago, we just said we obliterated their nuclear thing, but they're building it back up again. They're so goddamn good at this nuclear shit. They just keep rebuilding it. Even though it took them 30 years before, but they're rebuilding it fast. So they're rebuilding the nuclear thing, and we're kind of negotiating with them and whatever. So we're telling them we don't want you to have any nukes, and we don't want you to have any ballistic missiles. And the ballistic missiles are missiles that can hit Israel from Iran. And so if they are hitting one another, then Iran can defend itself, So Israel's not going to put down their ballistic missiles, but we want you to hand over yours. We don't want you to have them, but Israel can still have theirs. Now, if I'm Iran, I'm thinking in my head, as soon as I put down this ballistic missile, that's when you're going to hit me. And then I won't have a way to defend myself. So, no, I want to at least, I'm not saying I'll have a nuke, but I at least want my ballistic missiles, because I'm not just going to be standing out here with no way to defend myself whatsoever. Like, that's just nuts. That's just nuts. So, first it was the nuclear thing, and then it was the ballistic missiles thing. And then it was the protesters thing. Okay, the protesters thing didn't work. That was nonsense. That was never going to work. So now we're back to just the ballistic missiles and the nukes that don't exist. So now we have to go. So we need to negotiate over this. Hey, Iran, you want to negotiate over this? Yeah, let's negotiate. Boom. Once again, strike three, where America said we're going to negotiate, and we stabbed them in the back instead. It's fucked up. It's real fucked up, and it's really it's a really nasty, deceitful, psychopathic way of, air quotes, diplomacy. That's like. So what would make another country want to talk to, have any kind of sit down with us? The last motherfuckers that every time somebody come to meet with you, they turn up either kidnapped or dead. Why would I want to have any negotiation with you psychopaths over here in the United States in Washington, D.C.? That's how I would feel if I was looking at this from another country. That's how I would feel. If Trump called me down to the White House to have a fucking meeting, I'm not going. I'm not going. I think, look, man, you kidnapping and killing, man. So we strike them. We killed one of their supreme leaders. I believe he was referred to as the Ayatollah. And Trump immediately jumps online. Oh, and while we killed him, we also killed we bombed a girls' school, an all-girls school. I think 100 little girls were killed in that bombing. I have a little girl. I really don't appreciate. See, this is the kind of shit that, just, it keeps me up at night. Yeah. So it's just a damn shame. Like, Trump said something in that video. These politicians, they send your children over to war, but they'll never send their own. Yeah, I've seen like Barron Trump trending on X, and I can't help but chime in on that. Yeah, you want to fight this war? I've always said this. Take your old crusty ass over there. That goes for all of you people. Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump, Lindsey Graham, fucking fat ass Randy Fine. All of you, like, if you want to fight this war, you take yourselves and take your fucking offspring over there, and you can do that shit yourselves. I don't have no problem with these motherfuckers over there. I don't know them. These people have never done anything to me. Talking about they're a threat to America. In what way? They might be a threat to Israel, because Israel, along with us, keeps fucking stepping on their neck every chance we get. Them and all the other Middle Eastern countries. They're not any threat to Rob Coates and his fucking family. We don't know them people. This current administration is more of a threat to the regime I have here in the United States is more of a threat to my family than those motherfuckers over there. So you can miss me with that bullshit. But anyway, so Trump jumps online and immediately says regime change, which is exactly what I told my friends Dusty and Maggie at work. They want to overthrow the government. And they're going to do it one of two ways. They're going to either have a puppet that they put into office, a U.S. friendly person that's just going to, like I said, be a puppet, and move their mouth the way that we would like them to do and move in whatever direction we would like them to move in. Or we're just going to bomb the shit out of them, kill their leaders, and let them fend for themselves, which is going to turn into a civil war, and the worst of the worst is going to rise to the top. I mean, that's how these things end. And yeah, I mean, we've done this to so many Middle Eastern countries. That this is when we killed Gaddafi, this is what happened. And that place still hasn't recovered. Still hasn't recovered after we sodomized that man and overthrew his government. So it's just crazy. It's crazy times we're living in, and I just can't help but wonder what the fuck happened to that guy, Trump, in the videos that we watched in the beginning, like where you were saying I'm going to stop the war. Like, were you just lying? Is it the Epstein files that you're hiding from? Maybe Israel has them as well, and your ass is grass if you don't play along. Is it the donors? Like this lady named Muriel Adelson. Maybe I'll pull her up one time, but she's funded Trump millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. She's from Israel. I just don't know why the fuck we're risking it all for Israel. These people are not a threat to America, and they never were. All right. I'm going to come back with more clips of how the people in DC are reacting to this. Like Pete Hegseth and Trump and Lindsey Graham and all these other bloodthirsty bastards. Everyone stay safe. Sending prayers out to... We lost 4 service members last time I checked. Iran struck down a plane or something like that, and we lost 4 service members. And according to Trump, we are going to lose more. Coming from the No New Wars guy, we're going to lose more American lives. For what? For what? For what? So, yeah, I don't know why this is happening. I can show you what led up to this, but why this is happening, what changed this man, I don't fucking know. I feel played. I feel stupid. I'm over it. I say that every video. I'm over it. But maybe I am. It's just fucked up, man, because, like, you've seen how he lied to these people, getting them all hyped up. I'm not going to send your children over the war. And now 4 families just lost a child. 4 families just lost a child. So whatever the fuck we're doing, we need to back out and stop it immediately. Because I've already hit my limit at 1 American life lost, and we're up to 4 that I know of. Not to mention the 100 little girls that we've killed on their end. Cut it. Like, it needs to end right now. This and you motherfuckers, excuse me, but you people online, these right-wing accounts, this is what I voted for, and yo, cut it out, homie, cut it out, because this is not. Two years ago, you was just sharing those same clips that I was just that I played at the beginning of the thing, where he's saying no new wars. 2 years ago, we were the no war party. So what the fuck you mean this is what I voted for? Never on the campaign trail did he say I'm going to be bombing and kidnapping motherfuckers. So cut all the this is what I voted for shit out. You voted for American soldiers to die? That's what you this is the side that we're taking. This is the side you want to stand on? All right, that's enough. I hope everyone stays safe. Peace to everyone, and I'll catch you guys later.